Okay, so what we want to talk about is the abstract assignment. Remember, I explained in class that the abstract assignment has the APA citation, the MLA citation, and that happens at the top of the page. Your name is over here. And then you have the abstract. Now, your abstract, and be sure to reread the assignment, your abstract includes the purpose, the scope, the methods, the results, the conclusions, and part of the conclusions are directions for future research. Okay, so here's your article that you're supposed to read and write your abstract for article number 1. All of the information that you need to do the citations is actually up here. That's one of the nice things about internet-generated articles. They come out in a different format. But really anymore, in a journal article, all the information is usually at the bottom of the first page. So at the bottom or the top of the first page. No problem. Alrighty, your title, remember the complete title is here, and the source information, the year, the volume number, whether or not you need the issue, where the page starts and how long it is. All of that information you need, in addition to Richard West, who's the author there. Okay, when we're talking about the purpose, we're essentially talking about why was the research conducted, like why did they do it. And generally speaking, there are always 2 levels of purpose. One is kind of a theoretical, like area type interest purpose, and the other one is more specific to the study itself. So, in part, one of the purposes of this research, as you find that West says, he says that one of the reasons is to broaden the instructional research, because most of the research done in the field of teacher-student communication has actually been with college students. And so he uses a different population. And then also he more specifically wanted students who were elementary students to recall their particular interactions with teachers. So that would be the purpose of this particular study. The next thing you want to consider is the scope. And the reason we talk about the scope is because it tells us how far we can generalize the results when we have results to generalize. And so what we're essentially talking about is, who did they do the research with? Who were the participants in the research, and how was it done? Because that tells us like what population produced the results, and that gives us the scope, like how far we can, I guess, see essentially with these results. So your scope always includes the participants, and any information about the master identities of the participants that might have affected the results. And generally it's reported for you. We need to know how many there were, we need to know how many were men, how many were women, and what grades they were in, and any other information that might actually affect the responses. Okay, so that is your scope, and really we're not talking, you know, a dissertation here. Then you do methods, which is actually number 3 in the progression of the abstract assignment. With the methods, you're really essentially talking about how the data was collected, and they tell us exactly how it was done. Data collection procedures for all grades were similar. So how did they go about getting the information? What tool did they use? Did they use a questionnaire? Did they use a survey? Okay, so you tell me what tool was used, what procedure was used in order to get the information, and then how was the data processed. And in this case, they coded the data into different categories, into qualitatively different categories. When you read a more quantitatively based study, this isn't like pure quantitative work here, when you read a more quantitatively based study, you'll be able to say that the data was subjected to statistical analysis. But right now, essentially the 158 responses were coded into several categories. Then that brings up the results. The results are essentially, what is the new knowledge that's generated by this particular study? And when we're dealing with the results, you're actually already told what the results are by what the hypotheses are, or in this case, what the research questions are. Like, you know essentially what you're going to report on because, okay, we can go back here and see. And this also, by the way, is a very specific purpose to the study. It's to answer this research question. So if they're asking a research question, then you can guarantee that the results are going to answer the research question. So in the results portion of your abstract, you need to report what the results were, and then probably have a sentence or two explaining results that aren't intuitive, that you wouldn't actually know by by hearing it. So yeah, the categories, for example, you name the categories and you explain the categories in the results. And you're also doing this while being very aware of your word count, because I don't think you can go over, what, 450 words? Yeah, use a word count, yeah. Okay, so, and there were categories for research question number 1, and there are categories for research question number 2, and those are your results, right? So then we get to the conclusions, and they've actually already set it out for us, the implications and conclusions. And let me tell you, not every study is quite so simple, and this is a very simple study. So implications and conclusions, you find what you think is the most prominent or interesting or important conclusion, like kind of like a summary feeling of what the results indicate for our understanding of teacher-student communication. And then also you need to indicate what direction the author, and that would be West, okay, what direction West tells future researchers that they should go in. That should probably help you out. Remember to use active voice. Make sure that the author is doing all of the work and that the article is doing no work at all, because the article is a piece of paper. It cannot do anything, but the writer did. So, hope you guys are having a good week without me. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.